Right, everybody, welcome. Saturday morning yoga, here we come. Let's come onto the mat. We're going to do tiptoes and heels. So we've been doing tiptoes and heels for a while. I want to sort of switch it up a bit this week and do something slightly different, but no harm in just having a little go with tiptoes and heels. We're still working on the feet, mouth, face network. We're just going to go a bit deeper into the face and neck today. So you can see how all these sort of jigsaw puzzle pieces of the body come together sometimes really nicely. So getting into the rhythm, just feeling that rhythm. Waiting for that little bit of fatigue to come in. And then when you feel that it's time, we're just going to bring it to stillness and just notice how that feels. Take a breath. And just noticing those roots growing into the floor. We did last week. That was a really nice exercise, really helpful for me as well. So the next one we're going to do here is just to walk on the heels. So I've got the toes up. I'm just walking on the heels. And then I'm going to go up onto the balls of the feet. I can do it on the spot. You can walk backwards and forwards if you want, but you can do it on the spot as well. I'm going to go to the edges of the feet, so knees slightly out. So do be careful with knees with this one. And then turning the knees in and into this one as well. Careful with those knees. And then we're just going to bring the feet and notice the difference. A slightly different feeling and a little bit more weight because we've changed what we do normally. Take a breath. And as you breathe out, again. So again, usually with the hands, you rub them, warm them up. And just to bring it a bit closer to the camera, when you're rubbing, we are going in between the fingers as well. Okay, so not just on the top, but in between. So sometimes on the top, sometimes in between to get that bit stimulated as well. And today's sort of switch up is going to be this one where we stretch. Now, just to go through the stretch, it's finger to thumb in a fan shape, but also pushing the palm up as well. So it's a really big stretch across the hand. And then we're going to squeeze. And the first squeeze, we're going to have the thumb on the inside. And then we stretch open. And then we have the thumb over the other fingers. And then we stretch. And then we have the thumb to the side. So stretch, squeeze, thumb inside, stretch, thumb on top, stretch, thumb to the side. And we're doing this like this because this is how the babies start. They start like this. They move to this. And then finally, when the hand is fully integrated, the thumbs are on the outside. And you'll notice now when you bring the hands to the side that you can really feel them in a slightly different way. Take a breath. And again, let the breath water those hands and feet. And then we'll come into the face. So we'll only do the one for the face today because we're going to do loads later. So we're just going to stroke here and flick, flick, flick. And everybody has their favorite on this one that you tend to do. And mine changes from time to time. But at the moment, for example, tapping is really nice for me. Though with the tapping, it can take a bit longer because then you're like tempted to do the whole network. So we've done it before. Because that feels so nice. You can't help it. Yeah, so if you've done that one before with me, you can do it again, or a massage. And we're just remembering that massaging is also really nice. And then, of course, when you bring the hands by the side, you can just want to be able to feel it. We'll go a bit deeper into that. Take a breath. Let that mouth go into that dribble mode. Feel the hands, feel the feet. Lovely. And then we'll just start with our movement. So as you bring the hands into position, again, just like before, just remembering what shape am I making? Can I still feel my hands even as I stretch? Breathing in. Opening up, testing that breastbone. As we breathe out, let's just stroke through the air so you feel the air. In breath, we're going to look up and flatten the back. And as we breathe out, we're going to come down, breastbone first, let the head go. Taking a leg behind. We're coming into our dragon pose, so we're leaning in. Hopefully this is a bit better. We're going to push through the floor. Let the legs relax even more. So lots of people this week who haven't done yoga for weeks on end, bless them, noticed how tight this was. And then we're going to breathe in and reach up. And then we're going to bring the hands to the floor and coming into our plank pose. So in plank pose, we're just holding this pose until our heart rate goes up. But let's make sure that we're really working happily here. So we're pushing the floor away and feeling that connection right into the belly button through the arms. And we're also lifting our marble and activating that golden arch in between the legs so that we can feel that connecting to the belly button. So the whole of the front of the body feeling strong. And then when we're ready, we're going to come down and bottom roll. So we've got palm upon palm, and suck off, and then feet are relaxed, toes pointing in and the heels relax out, and we're just starting to gently rock on the bottom, getting into a nice rhythm. Now, when you forget about the rhythm and your mind wanders off, just bring your attention back to it as soon as you notice. Just gently, it's quite normal for the mind to wander off. We're just going to bring it back and continue to feel that rhythm. But that wandering off can sometimes also be just before the response in the body comes. It can sometimes be a sign that, when you bring your awareness back quite shortly after you feel that change. And then we're going to bring it to stillness and just observing, feeling that body release, giving it time. Tuck the hands underneath. We're going to breathe in and squeeze those adrenal glands, lovely. And then we're going to push up and back and let the hands be stuck to the mat and feel the space be created in the wrist, the elbows, the shoulders, all the way out the back. So we're not going to be doing too much today for the morrow, so we might want to add a little bit of an extra rock here. So using the hands, very gently rock that rib cage. Now, normally we do this sort of thing just for a little bit, but this one in particular you can do for a little bit longer. It's not too uncomfortable in a pose. You could just keep going until you feel an integration. Again, it might be a deep breath. Might be just a sense that you need to stop, or a thought that comes in. And then when you bring it to stillness, just have a moment there to observe what's happening. So because we did it for a bit longer, we do need a little bit longer to actually sit and feel. So let's come up onto hands and knees, and we're going to come into our downward dog. Let the knees go. Let the heels go, but if you need to bend the knees, that's fine. But we want to really focus on the back initially. So we're reaching with the arms, letting go of the head, bring the mouth into that dribble mode.
If it feels stiff between the shoulder, we can tell here if the shoulder blades are stiff by trying to do a bit of a cat and cow and just seeing how does it feel when you try and drop that breastbone. What's the tightness there in the shoulders, and then let the heels go, but again, relax the jaw again. And you can keep that movement up if you want to, or you can just come to stillness and just relax as much as you can. And we're going to take a step forward with the same leg that went back. We're going to bring it into position, leaning in. Again, waiting for a moment, pushing the floor away from you so you can really feel the stretch in the groin.
When you've got it there, we're going to breathe in and reach up. And just noticing this network here in the shoulders that we're going to be working with. Bringing the foot forward and coming into our forward bend. And again here, let's grab hold of the elbows. Might not last very long, but it's really good to do this one here. Just give that rib cage a bit of a rock. However long it lasts, however long you manage it for is a good amount of time. And then when you feel like you can't do anymore, just relax the arms, let go of the jaw. You might feel that when you let go of the jaw, that something else lets go in the shoulders, and that's exactly where we're going to be going today. And you feel ready to gently uncurl. I'm going to breathe in. So remember, what we're doing here, as well as stretching out, is moving that lymphatic system, getting that pumpless part of our waterworks to pump a little. So we're going to do that a little bit, a few more times. So as we draw the hands down the center of the body, and centering has been really important for me this week because I've been feeling a bit off. Every time I centered, I felt like I'm coming home to myself. So we're going to draw this line. And of course, what we're doing each time that we're stretching the arms up is that the underarms are literally becoming like a pump. And so where my lymphatic system wouldn't wake up because it thought it was the middle of the night most of this week, that helped, yeah? So if you're ever feeling groggy or you can't get yourself going in some way, you know, these sorts of movements, like the chicken movement or this movement that we just did, are really good. That's why star jumps are amazing as well, because that's what you're doing in the star jump. Okay, so we're massaging this lovely center here, and then we're going to feel the feet and the hands and just relax the jaw for a moment. Take a breath. And just landing your feet in your hands and in your face. So we're going to need the feet and the hands and the face quite a bit during this session because we're going to be moving and sorting out the jaw. And just to talk a little bit about, you know, the reflex points for the hands are really easy. They're just here in the center, in the feet, as we've done before. They're just here. But for the face, it's really not reachable. It's sort of back of the throat and behind the nape of the neck. So it's somewhere in the middle there where that joint is. And so it's quite difficult to sort of get your hand in there and massage it or pressure it or give it some stimulation. So the only stimulation that we've got is actually movement, which is why we're going to sit down. So find a comfortable way to sit. We're going to do a few neck moves and reflex moves for the mouth. Don't do it standing, because standing, you're not stable enough on a base. Okay, so some shape, way, or form, you need to be sat. And it doesn't really matter how, you could be sat on a sofa or on a chair doing this as well. So first things first is that we need to make sure that the mouth is fully relaxed. So what we're going to do is a bit of face yoga. Come a bit closer. So I'm going to put my tongue at the bottom here, and I'm going to draw a line up. And I'm going to keep drawing that line until my tongue muscle gets tired. And it's getting stronger, because the first time I did this, I did about 3 and I couldn't do any more. When that side gets started, do the other side. And then we're just going to let the mouth relax afterwards. And you're just going to feel that jaw drop down. And again, if you've got a favorite one that works really well for you, you know, or something a bit more soothing, maybe you could do that one next as well. And just add that in. Because for this reflex, you know, to really let go. And you might feel it already. You might close your eyes, and as the jaw drops, you might feel that back of the throat soften. And a little release go upwards. I feel it upwards first before I feel it down. The downward bit with the shoulders is the bit that's hardest to do, for me anyway. So we're going to do that next. So with the jaw relaxed, we're going to start to work on this reflex point. And it's literally, if you think about the spine like a flagpole and the head sitting on top, that's how, that sort of in there is the reflex point. So in order to stimulate it, we've got to move the head. So we're going to start with a tiny little circle at the top of the flagpole, very small. Keep that jaw relaxed as you work. Now it might feel at the top of that flagpole a little bit rusty, the circles might feel a bit jaggedy, a bit spiky. But after a few rounds, it will start to soften or lubricate or get greasier, however you want to describe it to yourself. And then you can start to grow the circles, and then you'll start to polish a bit more on the outside and go, oh, there's a few lumps there. You can feel a lot of cracking. And of course, as you grow bigger and bigger circles, as it becomes more and more greasy and lubricated, you're drawing those bigger circles. Relax the jaw as you go. And if you were holding tension in the jaw, just notice how that's freed you up to move even more. Now, to come and turn the other direction, what we're going to do is we're going to make this big circle smaller and smaller and smaller until we're back up to the top. And then we'll start circling the other direction, because, like I said, this affects the inner ear and your sense of balance. So we don't want to be too harsh and suddenly change direction. So just giving the body a bit of warning by going back up to the top and then starting with the little circles and growing them. Hopefully it feels a little bit more lubricated. And you might be starting to feel the shoulder. As you get into the big circles, you feel that pull on the shoulders and the neck. And again, to finish this one, we're going to bring the circles smaller and smaller and smaller until we land the head at the very top. When you get there, just see how that feels. Like, where is your head? So the reflex, the neck reflex, is all about finding where the head should sit at the top. And relax your jaw. And then we're going to polish the very top of the flagpole. So we're just doing this little no. Little no. Should feel quite nice and greasy there, quite nice and lubricated, but then we're going to start to drop the chin. And as we drop the chin, you'll start, at some point, you'll start to feel the shoulders. And then we're going to relax the jaw again. Stay where you can feel it. Keep polishing until that tension is gone, and then go down a bit more. Relax the jaw again. Polish a bit more until that feeling of tightness is gone. And then you'll come to a point where, you know, you're polishing in the same place and you can't actually quite let it go. And that's because that's a different reflex, which we are going to do in a bit. If you've done it with me before, it's the orangutan arms. So you could think about orangutan in your arms if you can remember what that feels like. And then, you know, at some point, if you do this with a baby, they can actually touch their chin to their chest. But then we're going to come back up. And as we come back up, we're going to notice that, oh, look at all of that. It's really lubricated. It's really nice. And then we're going to go up and over the top of the flagpole and start to polish at the back. Now, when we do that, we need to open and relax the jaw even more to get a bit further back. And go feel the response in the shoulder there. Now, this has got a time limit, this one, before the nervous system starts to feel a bit skewy. So bring yourself back to center when you start to feel dodgy. And when you land, feel the jaw relax, feel the position of the head, but also bring in your feet and your hands to keep it all stable, and take a breath. So we're just having a moment of feet, hands and face whilst that integrates, and whilst your vestibular, your inner ear, catches up. So you might feel a bit woozy as it catches up. And feet, hands and face will keep that stable. So the nervous system is rejigging itself, but the stability is coming from your ability to be aware, feet, hands and face. Okay, so just one more, and this one is more of a game really, and it's just to check, like, I really do know where the top of that flagpole is. So when the baby integrates this, what they do is they lift their head and they just have a little wobble moment at the top, and then whoop, the head rolls off, and then they lift up and they have this wobble moment. But actually, we're going to forget the wobble. We don't need the wobble. We're just going to lift the head, feel the top, and oh, it's too greasy, and the head rolls down. And we lift up, and it's too greasy, and the head falls back. And what we're aiming here is to have a sense of being able to let go. Especially if we've had like whiplash or any problem with our neck, we've decided at some point for our own protection to hold on to it, and letting go is difficult. So just see how long does it take before you can really trust that your head isn't going to fall off. And then you can just bring it to the top of that greasy place and be a bit more random with it. You do know where it's going to fall. Of course you do, but it's just, maybe it could be just a tiny bit random. And of course, there'll always be an area that you don't do very much. Maybe do that a couple of more times. The head seems to always roll in the same direction, so try a few other bits. And then, having done all of that, we really do know where the top of the head is now. So we'll just bring that back. Relax your jaw. You might notice a little release in the lower back as well, because there is a connection to right the way down to the sacrum between the neck, and let the jaw release evenly. Okay, so it's time to give this area a bit of a stretch. So the whole time we want this jaw super relaxed. We want to keep the head right on the top of the flagpole. Just do a really easy one to begin with, and just look over the shoulder. And once you're as far around as you can, relax those shoulders, relax the jaw. And then we're going to bring and roll through the center to try not to lose the top of the neck. Slowly does it, looking over the other shoulder. Relax that jaw. And we're going to bring it back to center. And take a breath. Okay, so we're just going to work a little bit more with the shoulders here. Now you can do this one up on your knees, like so, or you can stand up. But sitting makes this one harder. So up to you. If you can do it sitting. It's just a lot harder work for the body. So it's this one: 2 arms up, 1 arm forward, 1 arm back. We're going to pay special attention to the rotation of the head, looking at the front. Relax your jaw. 2 arms up. Other arm forward, other arm back. Looking at that back thumb. 2 arms up. 1 arm forward, 1 arm back. Feel that rotation of the head and the jaw. It's so much easier than the rest of the body, at least for me. Two arms up. Now, if you've had any kind of sort of shoulder issue, you might get these little bumps in this. You'll know what I mean if it happens. It just suddenly goes, ooh, ooh, that's a bit bumpy. And we're going to keep going until our arms feel like they're going to drop off. Now, because I've been swimming a lot recently anyway, my arms are quite strong doing this kind of motion. You might have already had that feeling. If so, you bring the arms together, you let the arms dangle by your sides. And now we're going to bring this all together. So we're going to feel this release down the arms, but also soften the throat, the jaw. Feel the head, there it is on top of its nice greasy pole. And we've got this whole network in the patterning that we want. So now as we go into stretch, we want to remember this. So let's start with a forward bend. So we're going to breathe in. And as you breathe out and come forward, again, you can bend the knees. Remember, we're working at the top here today. When you get down to here, there's a couple of things that you can do. First of all is orangutan your arms, so make the arms feel heavy. And then you could circle. That's the easiest one, where you just circle, circle, circle. Or you could sort of look to one's shoulder. So turn the whole head as if you were looking over your shoulder. And then the other side. It's falling down, can't see. And then back to the center. And then when you come back to the center, you might feel that release. Relax the jaw. When we come into downward dog. So in this downward dog, again, you can have the knees bent, although it's nice to stretch the hamstrings now that they're a bit warmer. But what we're going to do is going to tuck the chin in. Tuck the chin in. You're going to feel that stretch all the way up the spine and in the shoulders. Relax the legs. You could also circle. Polish. Do that little tiny polish. Relax the jaw. Keep feeling that relationship between the jaw and the neck release. As you bring it to stillness and you release the neck, you release the jaw at the same time. Reaching, feel the hands and the feet, they're on the ground, so that's easy. And then we just place the knees down and come into child pose for a moment. Putting the hands by the feet. Have just a moment to feel feet and the hands in a nice row, and the weight of your head as you relax the shoulders. The head just feels heavier and heavier. Let go of the jaw. And perhaps now we're really starting to identify what I mean by the jaw reflex really affecting this neck and shoulders. If not, we're going to feel it in this next one for sure, because we're going to really stretch out the neck now. So we're going to have the head on the ground, and we're going to roll forwards and back. Now start with tiny little rolls. Let's get used to the idea. Let the balance center, the inner ear, become more used to it. And then once you've got used to that, we're going to roll slower but further. So just start stretching that neck all the way down the spine and back to the forehead. So it's a slower roll, but relax the jaw. Not more than 2 or 3 probably are needed for the really good stretching. Just make sure at the peak of your stretch that your jaw is relaxed, and then we're going to come down into child pose again. Relax those shoulders just to give the body that chance. Let go in the mouth.
Breathe and just notice that's one of the STNR moves, that one. So we suddenly have this sense of presence come in, possibly. The sense of being in our body, with our breath, present in that body rather than inside our head. And that's what I meant earlier about how this quietens down mind enough that we can focus more on our body. So just enjoying that moment for as long as you like. And you're going to come and do a few stretches on the ground with this still in mind. So we've got the legs nice and wide apart. We're going to come into turtle pose. So turtle pose, the feet are wider because we want to be able to sort of sit in between. So we get this back stretch, which is nice. And we can grab hold of the feet or whatever we can reach, really. And so we've got the body in this stretch. And what we can do here is a little bit of stretching for the neck. So if we look over one shoulder, you'll feel that opposite neck get a stretch. It's slightly deeper because of the rest of the body being stretched as well. Remember to relax the jaw. And we come through the center and look the other way. Come through the center, drop down the chin. Feel that stretch, it's quite strong, just nice and gentle. Move slowly, relax the jaw. Moving up, looking up. Feel the reach of the spine, feel the reach through the neck, relax the jaw. And then I'm going to try and bring the head into a bit more of a neutral space where it's neither up nor down, nor side to side at the top of that flagpole. We're going to stretch the legs and bring them closer in. So we're coming into more of a forward bend here. Grabbing hold again of wherever you can. Keeping that head in that position. The movement now comes from breathing out and engaging the core. Relax the jaw. Notice how we can really feel the top of the neck there. And how having the neck loose like that really facilitates the stretch in the spine and the rest of the body. So a lot of the time when we do these back bends like this, I get complaints, and I say, oh, that hurts my neck and my shoulders don't like it. Today it should feel a bit better. Just a little tip is that you want to create space in the breastbone and the whole of the spine. So as you start to move into that S shape, imagine that you're also extending. And the head needs to feel like it weighs a ton. You're not lifting it. You're breathing in, you're opening the chest. And the head is almost dangling off. So relax the jaw, let that happen. Now, if you're still holding on a little bit, you might notice it here. But definitely for everyone, when it's time to come out, don't lift the head. Instead, bring the spine to C shape and then let the head roll forward on its own. As you come to sitting up. You just have a moment there and feel what happens. There's a lot of stretching and movement going on as things shift. So we're going to tuck one leg under
to do this twist. We've got a few options here. We can have the foot here on heel to heel. We can have it this side of the knee or over the knee. And then we're going to do opposite hand, opposite knee. So we're pulling in. We've got the sciatic muscle here that needs a little bit of time to relax. So just sit the legs back down, give it the time that it needs, let the legs go. Remember, this is the FPR reflex, the letting of the legs go reflex. And then when we look over the shoulder and we rotate here, with the help of this arm, we're rotating the shoulders. If you just close your eyes and then you look over and then you add your tongue, so you place the tongue in the cheek and point with that tongue, you'll feel the entire network here, from the mouth, through the jaw, down through the neck, shoulders, all the way through the spine. And of course, the bit that releases first or feels more malleable will be the neck bit, the bit we've already stimulated. So it's nice to see there the product of our work, the benefits. So we've either got the foot, the other foot under, heel to the foot, to the inside of the knee or the outside of the knee, letting the hip relax. So nice gentle twist as you relax the hip, bringing the head around, looking over the shoulder with the eyes closed, pointing the tongue at the end. And that twist and that way of working really, really gets into that frozen shoulder area. So if you've had frozen shoulder in the back, you might notice that one side you could do easier than the other. Welcome when you come back to rotate and circle the shoulders, the breastbone, so just circling. You might find that your own body asks for something. So, for example, my body is going, oh, I'd really like to do this to see. Yeah. If ever, during the class, something like that comes up, listen, because your body is asking you for exactly what it needs. And I just want to go back before we lie down. We'll do more neck work lying down. I want to come back to the downward dog just to so you can see the difference. Okay, so middle finger pointing forward, toes tucked under, hands nicely stretched. And as we come into our downward dog, I'm just thinking back to what it was like earlier. We were rotating the head or trying to look over the shoulder. And just see how it feels so much less held, that brace that we had there is gone. Of course, other bits of the body might want a bit of help. The legs might need letting go. The breastbone might feel tired or tight. But this bit that we've been working on is softer. And we can really feel it. And then you can just rest down. It's just a little afterwards for just bringing the head to the floor. This time when the head comes to the ground, we bring the arms by the feet. Let's see how heavy the head is. We really put it down. Because of course what we're trying to do is really relax those muscles that have been holding automatically for so long. And you'll feel it even more when you roll over and come onto your back. So as you place the head down, it's like, oh, that's nice. Can let go even more. That's why we're going to do a little bit more work here, because the back and the shoulders are supported and we can get even more juice out of the neck, even more stretch out of the neck. So you can start off as you lie down by rocking the head side to side.
just like we polished earlier. Relax that jaw. Let go of those arms, orangutan them. Get into a rhythm. We're going to do this one for a little bit longer. It's a bit easier to do on the floor. And of course, at some point, the nervous system will tell you when to stop. And when it does, just observing what's happening. And then we're going to bring the hands and we're going to slide them underneath the head. And try not to lift the head with your neck muscles. Try instead to use your hands to lift the head. And interlace your fingers behind the head. So that you're literally holding. I know how hard that is to do. So you're holding your head. And we're going to start with that side to side. Now this does work a little bit better if you are able to straighten your legs out. No, it's not obligatory. And then we're going to start to lift the head as if we're going to look at those toes. And we're still polishing. And what you'll find is as you work your way down the spine, that there is bits that don't like being polished too much and they're a bit rusty and they need a bit of extra time. So stay there for a bit, let it release. Stay there for a bit, let it release. Feeling like you're polishing the top of that flagpole. Keep that awareness there. Bit difficult because you're using the arms, but you could orangutan them. And then, of course, when you've had enough, you're just going to reverse your way down. Still polishing, relaxing that jaw. When the fingers touch the floor, let them come out from beneath you. Carry on a couple of little rocks there with the head on the ground. And as you bring it to stillness again, just observe what's happening. And then we're going to bring the arms up and over. Now, your arm might not reach the floor. That's okay. Just have a moment there. This is more of a Moro position here, so it might need a bit of time. But what I want to look at is now if we rotate the head as if we were going to look over one shoulder, and then try and relax the head back down, it has a different effect. So you can just feel that loads of muscles in the back need to learn to let go. And then we rotate through the center. Again, try not to lift the head. So when we're rotating, we're literally rolling the head like a big cannonball. Look over the other way. And again, what muscles need to let go here? Rotating the head back to center. Again, try not to lift it. You can seriously ruin your hairstyle, but that's all right. Let's put it right later to bring the soles of the feet to the floor. See how changing that position allows another set of muscles to need to release. Give it time. So starting to see how neck position, head position really affects the whole of the spine here. Relax the jaw. And then we're going to start to lift into our bridge pose. And we're keeping the arms relaxed for now. But as we lift up, we're relaxing the jaw. We're really aware of having to roll the head by itself. You're not moving it, it's rolling itself in. And then just seeing how the arms feel now on the floor. Can you orangutan them in this position? Relax the jaw. And then without causing too much tension, we're going to start to reach through the wrists. So that it's like somebody's grabbed hold of the wrist And it's creating space in the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders. And then notice what's happening in the back of the throat and neck. So try and relax that. And then as we roll down, keep reaching. Now we haven't done, like I said, a lot of Moro, and the Moro does have a part to play in this tension. So when you get to that point where you feel the tightness in that diaphragmatic area, just use the feet and just give it a little rock side to side. But relax the jaw and orangutan your arms. Start to see like 3 reflexes here really affecting this area. And when the pelvis touches the floor, you can carry on rocking a little bit, but the most important thing is just to let go of the arms. Bring it all to stillness. Just notice what else needs to release. Maybe that jaw's gone tight again. Perhaps you can feel that reflex point in the neck there, warm. For me, I always experience it like a little sun radiating its heat. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the relaxation. But for now, we're just going to roll. We are going to do the floor twist, but we're going to start it by rolling the head to one side. We're just rolling the head to one side, relaxing the shoulders again, letting go of the jaw again. Notice how often when we move, that tension comes back in. We'll place the foot on the knee and push that leg away from the head. Now, as you do so, you'll feel lots of movement deep inside the upper back, neck area. Take it slow. Relax those shoulders, let go in the jaw. If you need to use the hands, you can to bring yourself a little bit further over. And once you've found your stretch, again, work with this whole network, letting go of the arms, relaxing the jaw, feeling where that top of the head is, that flagpole. Is it greasy and relaxed? And of course, don't forget to breathe. Now, when you decide to come out of this, we're going to move the head and the legs at the same time. Now, that doesn't mean you have to come up right now. You make the choice. You might feel like you want to stay there a bit longer because lots is releasing, and you need more time, and that's fine. Just know that when you do swap sides, you're going to start the other side the same way. So you're just going to roll the head first. Look over that. And then you're going to move the legs. Pushing that leg in. Again, slowly. Bring the hand to the knee if you want. And remembering about those arms, about the jaw, as you roll back to the center, it's head and legs simultaneously. So we come to our final stretch. And this is one of the stretches where there's a little potential danger of holding tension in the neck. So really important to think of the head like a big heavy cannonball, that you're not lifting off the floor. It's staying where it is, and instead you're just opening out the spine beneath it. You can relax the head back onto the ground, let go in the jaw.
might be able to feel a feeling of orangutangness in your arms. It's a bit tricky because you're using them, but you might. And the same thing, as you come out, you're going to roll the head in. Not lifting it. Release the hands out. And just notice how that feels. You might well notice that the upper half of the body is sinking really nicely. And of course, we want the whole body to feel that way. So hence why this last move here with the soles of the feet on the floor, this knee bend rock. Will help that. So we're just going to finish up with the knee bend rock. Now, if you're needing to have a blanket, you might want to put the blanket on you before you do this so that you don't have to get up afterwards to get it. But as you're rocking, just bring your awareness to the fact that the upper body is fluid and moving nicely. And in particular, as you let go of the jaw more and more, that the head is allowed to do whatever it wants. Going back to that letting go feeling, that sense of letting it just be random. Find your rhythm. Seeing how the head joins into that rhythm without you having to do anything. Relax the jaw further. And then again, when you feel ready, something changes. You can bring it to stillness and observe the response. Let go of the legs. Just having that moment to really deeply feel the work that we've done today. Feeling how that, now when we release the jaw, we're really feeling that release deeper than before. Right into the neck, coming down into the shoulders, up into the nape of the neck. So as you breathe in to this area, it does feel like a little sun, or warmth, or light radiating within. You can feel the rays of that sun, or the movement of the breath, that awareness as it comes in. Breathing, spreading awareness throughout this whole area as we watch things move and light up. And as you breathe out, just feeling the weight of the shoulders, that orangutan arm feeling coming in, the jaw feeling heavy, the head resting completely on the floor. Breathing in, just aware. This whole area warm, shining, like a sun beaming its light and warmth to the jaw, the teeth, the tongue, the palate behind the nose, around the eyes and the forehead and the top of the head and the back of the head. So you breathe out, feeling the weight of the head as it sinks into the floor. Breathing in, feeling that warmth radiate through the throat, down the neck, and shine its light upon the shoulders. And something in the shoulders letting go and releasing all the way down to the hands and fingertips. Breathing in, feeling that light, that warmth, that sun become a little bit brighter. And some of its heat, as you breathe out, perhaps radiating down into the chest, into the breastbone. Right down into the other inner sun in the solar plexus there. Breathing in as that sun shines that little bit brighter. And as you breathe out, feeling some of its rays shine down the spinal column, all the way down to the sacrum. To warm the belly, to release the hips, and down the legs, all the way to the toes. So we can have a moment of awareness for our feet and our hands and our jaw and face and neck. Connecting up the dots of this reflex to feel that inner comfort, calm, softness. As we breathe in, feeling the softness of the body. And breathing out, letting go into the earth that little bit more. Breathing in, so aware of that softness. Whole body just benefiting from this warm release from the neck and throat, warm honey spreading everywhere. Breathing out, feeling that weight of the body. Allow the floor to hold you up. And just having a moment. And perhaps you can feel the two simultaneously. If the mind is busy, just bring it back to that sense of the whole body soft on the in-breath. And letting go of the body as you breathe out. Occasionally feeling the two simultaneously. Enjoying the relaxation for as long as you need to. Quietly slip out the room. Enjoy.